we are going to do this section where we are going to chat basically about packaged amplifier. Packaged amplifier, according to TOA, these are normal desktop amplifiers. You can mount them in a rack if you want. You can just mount them on a desktop, plug in a microphone, and plug in some speakers, and off you go. The system works. You don't need a laptop. You don't need any DSP fine-tuning. All you need to do is maybe increase a little bit of bass, increase a little bit of treble, and then you do your master volume. So these are basically what we call in the industry packaged amplifier. So a packaged amplifier, what it really means is it's got an input, it got some inputs, it will do some output. You'll be able to adjust a volume, and you'll be able to adjust the bass, you'll be able to adjust the treble. Okay, let's take a look at the first amplifier, the very, we call it the baby of the amplifiers in TOA. It's a very small amplifier. As you can see, it's called A230 amplifier. What it does only 30 watts. All right. For sales, 30 watts is a lot of power. Okay. For procurement, 30 watts is also indeed a lot of power. For technical, we'll talk about more about wattages and SPL tomorrow. All right. So this basically does 30 watts. What it means is, if I am going to get a place where, say, in an office environment, right, I'm going to put I'm going to put speakers in the corridor, okay? And what we do, we then say, I'm going to put 10 speakers and tap the speakers, all right, at 3 watts. So it means this amplifier can handle 30 speakers, can handle 10 speakers all tapped at 3 watts, all right? So that's how the system works. That's how the PA system works. I'll try and spend a bit of time, a little bit, about maybe 2-3 minutes on that regard. This amplifier can also handle 30 speakers if you decide to tape all your speakers at 1 watt. Okay, so for those that will be a little bit confused about this, please don't worry about it. I will try and explain in detail later on when I get a chance. But basically, it's a 30-watt system. And these are called 100-volt systems. All right. If there's questions or queries about that, please just feel free to ask me, then I can explain. Okay. So these are 100-volt amplifiers. If you look at it, it only has microphone 1 input, okay, and microphone 2 input. And you have got a BGM aux1 input, and then you've got your speaker terminal. It gets plugged to mains. It's as simple as you see it on the picture. Number 1, it's got 2 microphone inputs, okay? It's got an auxiliary in, which is your music input, RCA. And lastly, you have your speaker output terminal over here. All right, let's take a look at what this amplifier does. What it means is you can plug in a normal microphone, the one that I was showing you from TOA, the dynamic microphone. You can plug it in on microphone number 2, plug in your speakers up to 30 if you are using 1 watt tapping, up to 10 if you are using 3 watt tapping. As soon as you plug these speakers in and your microphone in, plug the amplifier to your mains, you are able to immediately use the microphone, and you can adjust the microphone volumes, and you can also adjust the auxiliary volumes. You can put a bit of bass, you can put a bit of treble. These are what we call packaged systems. So packaged systems are very, very, very simple in terms of connection, in terms of technical support. These are very, very simple. Okay, this is the first one we have as an entry level.
I don't need to. I want to. No. Okay, right there. I want to see Mr.
Okay, Akim is okay.
I think, hello, Mr.
Yes.
Ikechukwu, his phone just unmutes itself sometimes. So I will keep muting it. You can go on.
Okay. Right. The second amplifier is also a 30-watt amplifier. It's slightly bigger in build. You can install it in a rack. The first one, let me repeat this one. The first one is half rack size. Okay. So the first one is half rack width. The width of the rack, standard rack, equipment rack, this is sits half. But this one, The A230 is also a 30-watt amplifier. It can sit the full width rack. So what you need to buy from TOA is mounting brackets. You just screw them on. You can install it in a rack. Okay. Inputs also, power supports 220 to 230 volts. All right. There's also a 24-volt DC connectable. So if you have, say, for example, batteries, 2 times 12-volt batteries, which is 24 batteries, you can actually power it externally and you can have it running on 24 volts. All right. It also offers you 3 microphone inputs, which is slightly different to the other one. It also offers you 2 phone jacks, which is here, 1, 2, which is RCA. All right. Sorry. It also offers you, sorry, let me rephrase. It offers you 3 microphone inputs. The first one is a 5-pin DIN. Okay. The first one is a 5-pin DIN. The second microphone takes a normal standard jack. The third microphone takes a normal standard phone jack. Then you have 2 auxiliary inputs, meaning to say you can plug in music source number 1, music source number 2, and you have a record output.
Mr. from Huawei wants to see ISDM.
Then you have a record output, which you can connect to an external amplifier if you want, and you have the following combination. It's a 30-watt, 100-volt output, right? So once again, this amplifier can handle as many as 30 speakers, 30 ceiling speakers, if you tape them at 1 watt, or it can handle something like 10 ceiling speakers if you tape them at 3 watt, or it can handle 5 ceiling speakers if you tape them at 6 watt. All right, I hope it's making sense to what I'm presenting. So the A230 is rack mountable, followed by the A2060. As you see, they look exactly the same. The connections at the back are exactly the same. The only difference, this one does 60 watts. Hello? Okay, I was admitting someone. So the A260 is rack mountable. It does 60 watts. What it means at 60 watt is this, gents and ladies, at 60 watt, I can connect 20 times speakers taped at 3 watt, 20, okay? I can connect 60 speakers if these speakers are taped at 1 watt, all right? So once again, you have input number 1, which represents your first your first input number 1 is microphone number 1 with the DIN connector. Number 2 is your phono 1, phono 2. So this can take, once again, a maximum of 3 microphones. You can connect 2 music sources and you can still connect your speakers on here. So our speakers, I think you have heard me repeating 100-volt speakers, 100-volt speakers, 100-volt speakers. Basically, in a public address, we use 100-volt speakers. In actual fact, let me rephrase. In commercial audio, we use either 100-volt speakers, which is mostly Africa, Europe, Japan, most Asian countries, but for Canada, for Brazil, for the US, they use either the 70 or the 50-volt principle. So for us, we are always on the 100-volt principle. All right. I'll explain to this to the technical team tomorrow, but just for the other ones, please just know we use what we call the 100-volt principle. All right. The next amplifier, before Akim tells me if it's time to take a break, the next amplifier that I'm going to introduce is the A2120. As you see, from the A2030, A2060, A2120, this amplifier, it looks exactly the same. From the front, from the rear, it's exactly the same. The only difference is on the power output. So at A2030, 30 watt, A2060, 60 watt, A2120 is 120 watts. Okay. So again, you've got 3 microphone inputs. You've got 2 music source input, auxiliary 1, auxiliary 2. You have a record output. So once again, let me just play a bit technical. You can have 2 amplifiers like this. and you have your microphone connected to the first amplifier, your music sources connected to the second amplifier, but this is doing 120. You need, for argument's sake, let's say 200 watts. So you then grab another amplifier, then you take the auxiliary, the record out, you plug it into the next amplifier's auxiliary in. You will notice that as soon as you put the volume on the first amplifier with everything with your music sources, the second amplifier will also broadcast the same to your extra speaker that you wanted. So that's why we have provided you with a record out. It is used to connect to another amplifier to boost the power for that particular use. Okay. The last of the A2000 series. Okay, let's do this. So the last of the A2000 series here is the A2240. Okay, so on the mixer part, this is the last one, is A2240. So this does 240 watts of speaker output power, meaning you can connect 240 speakers tabbed at 1 watt. You can connect 80 speakers tabbed at 3 watt. Okay, you can connect how many? 60 speakers, correct? So you just do the mathematics as we proceed. So what you need to do, if it's a 240, if your speakers are tapped at 1 watt, it's 240. If it is a 240 and you tap your speakers at 6 watt, just divide 240 by 6, and then you get the number of speakers that you can connect. They look exactly the same as the other one. What it also has 3 microphone inputs. What it also has auxiliary input, 1 for music 1, auxiliary input 2 for music 2, and an output. By the way, if you put 2 auxiliary music source and you come to the front of the unit, you increase the volume of aux 1 and you increase the volume of aux 2. What is going to do is going to play both music sources to your speakers, so it will not be very well with your client. So though it has 2 music sources, you need to select 1 music source to be playable at any given time. All right. Right, we have a special amplifier called P2240. As you were seeing, these are basically amplifiers with volume controls for your microphones, with inputs for your microphone, inputs for your music source, a bass and treble, and your master volume. And you can take a look at the P series. A P series basically doesn't have all these volume controls in front. It is called a booster amplifier. In the case that you have an A series amplifier running out to say whatever speakers, and you want to boost the power to several other speakers, you can use a P2240. It is rack mountable, right? You can also connect a 100-volt line in, which is a speaker line output coming from the first amplifier. You can connect it to a 100-volt line input, and this will take it as an input signal. It will then broadcast out to its own speakers. Or you can connect what we call line out or a loop out to loop to the next amplifier, and your line in is your input coming from the, as you see, there's no RCA on the booster amplifier. It's only meant to boost the incoming signal either by a 100-volt line connection, and then you boost it out to your own speakers. All right, it has a bass and treble control on the front, and the master volume control on the front. That's all you have on the front. Right, so gents, ladies, and everyone on the forum, as you remember, we were dealing with the A2000 series that we're talking about. So from the A2030, A2060, A2120, A2240, all these ones had the same characteristics, such as 3 microphone inputs, 2 auxiliary input, 1 record out, and your single speaker line. That was the A2000 series. So for technical or for sales, especially for sales, the reason why we have these different package amplifiers, they are meant for different use. Let's take, for example, you are doing a setup. Sorry, guys, I'm a bit groggy. I was sick. I'm still recovering. So if I coffee or do something, please just bear with me. So if you are using a system where you only are good with 3 microphones, yes, the A2000 is okay. All right. And if you only want 2 music sources, yes, the A2000 is still doing the job. However, let's suppose that your client needs 6 microphones. You obviously cannot use the A2000 series. You can use 2 of them and connect them with aux out of the other to go into aux in of the other to get 6 microphones, but that's not the best way to do it. Okay. So in this case now, the next series that I'm showing you is only has 3 models. The first one is an A1706. This represents a 60-watt amplifier. All right, let's have a look at what this amplifier does. Sorry, my picture is not very, very good, but you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So this amplifier can do 6 microphones. And the connection at the back on the microphone is called XLR/TLS combination. What it means is if I have a microphone with a 1/4-inch jack, on the center of this connector, there's a hole. So you push it in there. If I have a microphone with an XLR jack, on the same cable, on the outer ring, it accepts an XLR. So it's called a TR, sorry, it's called an XLR/TRS jack. So this combination does both. It allows you the option of either using a 1/4-inch standard jack, or you can use an XLR connector. You don't have to worry, now I need this connector, and no, everything is on there for you. All right. So you have an option of 6 microphones, right? You do have 2 RCA aux inputs, 2 of them. You have a dedicated phono combi, like I said, XLR aux inputs, which are also 5, okay? And you also have a line output for an external processor or equalizer, all right? Then you have a single record output, which is unbalanced RCA. It also gives you what we call a 2-zone 100-volt output, all right? I'll try and show you a good picture. Then you'll have a maximum of 60 watt at 100 volt. You can also connect a 4 ohm or to 16 ohm. So you can connect a 4 ohm speaker, 8 ohm speaker, or a 16 ohm speaker maximum. All right. So you can also use it for 70 volt or for 100 volt. So in our case, we are dealing with 60 watts rated at 100 volt. Phantom power is individually selected on off for each microphone input using deep switch 1 to 6, right? I forgot to mention this on the other series. So on here, we've got deep switch settings. You can select, you can put a condenser microphone. Then you come to the deep switch. You switch for 1, 2, 3. Then on number 4, 5, 6, you can use a normal dynamic microphone. Okay, so this is a bit flexy when you are using. Number 1, it offers you 6 microphone inputs. It offers you a lot of 2 RCA for your background music. It also gives you a bass and treble, your master volume, your zone 1 selector, your zone 2 selector. So the zone 1, zone 2, what it is basically doing is, because it's a single amplifier, it splits your single line to 2 parallel lines. So you can have, for example, you can run this. Yeah, let's do this. You can run this in the office, okay? And then you can say, in all the offices, you are going to put speakers, but you're going to connect them to zone 1. Then in all the passages and the sales area, you're going to put speakers, you're going to connect them to zone 2. But split into 2. You have got an option of switching to on and switching the other zone off. Okay.
Hello, Akim. I can't hear obvious again. Can you hear me, Akim?
I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you. Obvious, please come again. The last sentence.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I was saying this is a single output by design. But what we have done is, if you select a zone 1 and zone 2, you are splitting that single output to 2 independent parallel outputs. What it means is, if I was playing music or making an announcement, if zone 1 is switched on, zone 2 is switched on. So I would have 2 speaker lines, 1 to zone 1, 1 to zone 2. These would work. If I don't want the guys in zone 1 to hear what we are what we are playing, I just switch that zone 1 off, and zone 2 will continue with the business of the day. So this is like a single output, but with an option of creating 2 outputs. Okay, so where you would use this, once again, where you would need multiple microphones, maximum 6 microphones, at least 2 background music sources, and you can have the choice of switching up to 6 phantom powered microphone and switching them on. You also have a choice of running a combination of phantom power and dynamic microphone. You just make sure that this microphone connected to the port with a dynamic is not phantom powered. The one that is a condenser microphone, if it's on port 1, then of course you'll have to switch that part on for phantom power. All right. I hope that's okay. So the 1706, like I've said, is basically a 60 watt. Then the sister to this one is a 1712. What it means is this can do 120 watts of power. It's exactly as the same features as the 1706. You can have microphone number 1 to 6, 2 music sources. You can have zone 1 to zone 2. It works exactly like a 1706. Maximum 6 mic inputs. You can select each of the microphone to be phantom powered or not. You do have a line record output to boost power with the next amplifier. It also offers you, like the other one, a 2-zone output. Maximum it can handle 120 watts. All right. The last of this series is a 1724. So the 1724 marks the last of the 1700 series. So as you were hearing me, 2000 series, under 2000 series, you had those codes. 1700 series, there are only 3 available. The 1706, 60 watt, 1712, 120 watt, 1724, 240 watts. Similarly, they all look exactly the same. So I will not go through it again, but they look all the same. Everything on the microphones is the same. On the music sources is on the same. On the record out is on the same. Also offers you 2-zone. You have a master volume. All right. People have asked me, how do I decrease the volume of one zone and keep the other zone high? Or should I, what would I do to increase the volume of zone 2 and leave the volume for zone 1 lower? Okay. From the amplifier side, unfortunately, you can't do it. There's no provision for that. You are unable to do that from the amplifier side. However, having said that, you can put external volume controls, which I will try and show you later. These are called attenuators that you can run, and then they will allow you to control the volume on that particular speaker line without affecting the other speaker line. All right. So this wraps up the 3 models available on the 1700. Then of interest, we have another series, which is our last series of the 18 packaged system, sorry, of our packaged standard amplifiers, the A series, which is now the 1803. So this is called 1800 series. We have 3 amplifier packages. One is an 1803, followed by an 1806, then followed by an 1812. 1803, 30 watt, 1806, 60 watt, 1812, 120 watt. Right, let's take a difference. The 1800 series have something very interesting that all the other packages do not have. So I'll just explain this page and we'll flip through the other 2 pages that represents the 1806 and the 1812. Right, number 1. It offers you 3 mic inputs, which is also phono jack combi, which means on the input here, you can plug in a phono connected microphone or an XLR connected microphone. Is doable. So you have microphone 1, microphone 2, microphone 3. But microphone number 1, right, as you see, there's a little thing here. Unfortunately, the picture is tiny, but over here is microphone number 1. You can either the 1/4 inch or the standard stereo jack, the standard stereo jack, or the XLR, or if you want, you can use a microphone with a 5-pin DIN. All right, that is on microphone number 1. Then the microphone number 2 is our standard XLR, then TRS combo. Microphone number 3 is our standard XLR phono jack combo, as I was saying. Right, let's take a look at some of the things that make this amplifier particularly different to the rest of the other amplifiers. Number 1, it also offers you 2 RCA amplifier, which is common amongst the amplifiers. It offers you a dedicated phono combi jacks for your microphone input, which is on MOH. Right. I hope you guys know about MOH. It's a very simple thing that's called music on hold. Okay, so sometimes you might be using a function where I think you guys have experienced it. Your phone, maybe your company, the receptionist puts you on hold, and you have this music playing in the background. All right, so that function is built also into this particular amplifier. You have a music on hold input trigger. Number 2, you have a telephone input with a dry contact. This is where I wanted to bring highlights to both sales and especially sales and technical in this particular juncture. What it means is, if you go to the older PABX systems, you guys might have experienced it, where you come to a company, the receptionist picks up a phone, punches a special code, she or he uses this telephone to make announcements into the public address system. All right, this is the secret. So there is a telephone input with a dry contact trigger. So the PABX will need to supply you with a line level audio signal and a relay that closes when they punch in that special code, doable with this amplifier. So you can connect it to any PABX. With the newer phones, the PBX phones, the SIP phones, the voice phones, what you then need is a SIP integrator, which is a SIP to analog audio device. It's a little box that then you punch. When the receptionist punches a code, audio comes out of that little box, a relay closes, and then whatever you're broadcasting from the telephone gets broadcast over the speakers over here. That is not available. This function is not available on the 1800 series, sorry, on the 1700 series. Neither is it available on the A2000 or the 2000 range series. It's only available on the 1800. So this stands out completely different. This is also why I was saying to you, it depends on what you want to achieve and what you want to use it for. This is where we'll say, no, for this one, you don't need an 1800 series. Go for a 2000 series or go for a 1700 series. We'll assist you in making that particular decision. Right. Here's what we call emergency audio input with a dry contact trigger. This is very, very useful. Let's go into it. Let's just deal with it a little bit. I've had the opportunity of being in Nigeria, so I've been to some malls. I've noticed also it's the same trend in SA. So you have these big malls, right? The Ikeja Mall. You have these big malls. They have what in any mall, we have what we call anchor stores. And anchor stores by default, I don't know in Nigeria, but here, anchor stores are trouble because he is the anchor store. He knows for that mall to function, he is the one who's drawing people to the mall. All right. So what anchor stores tend to do, they will tell the mall operators and the mall owners that I don't want you to play your music inside my shop. Okay. And they want to play their own music because they are huge. They've got lots of floor space. They want to run their own music for their own clients. They want to play advertisements, audio files from the laptop connected to the auxiliary input. They want to be independent. That's the point of whatever else is happening in the main mall. Right, here's a catch. Even though they are anchor malls, we also want to make sure that should there be a fire, these people must be able to survive, correct? They need to be told that there's a fire. So here's what we do. What we then do, we'll then connect from the central PA, which is the PA running the rest of the mall. We'll tap from a line coming out of the central PA and go to the emergency audio input. And from the central PA, We will have a dry conduct trigger, which is a relay that closes when that central PA goes into evac mode or alert mode, and we connect it over here. What it means is, as soon as there is an emergency alert or emergency evacuation, this system will then override whatever is happening in the anchor mode. Then it will be switched on and over to the central PA. So if they were playing advert and they were enjoying some music, they'll be told, no, guys, this is not time for enjoyment. We have a fire, please leave the building. So this is how we have solved most integrations between anchor stores and central PA systems installed within that mall. So I hope this is a good one where we are saying now, I hope you are now understanding why they are these several amplifiers and they are all packaged amplifiers. So each amplifier has its own advantages and its own disadvantages. So this is only available on the 1800 series. So the telephone input, the emergency audio input. Let's take a look. It is also a 2-zone amplifier, right? Meaning to say I can have zone 1 switched on, zone 2 switched on. So it's a 2-zone amplifier, correct? The 1803 31. All right. Then it also comes with the chime built in with tone selection for the telephone use. This is a bonus because what you need to do as soon as you are paging from the telephone, you also want to have this ding, 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 ding sound that comes out. This is built in. You need to activate it with the deep switch settings. And as soon as you start using the telephone, before you make announcement, that chime will always play. In the phantom power is individually selected on off for each mic input using the deep switches. As you see over here, there's microphone number 1, microphone number 2, microphone number 3. You then switch on deep switch 1, deep switch number 2, deep switch number 3 if you have got 3 phantom powered microphones. Okay, so far so good. Then the next one is an 1806, exactly the same features as I was explaining, only this one does 60 watts. The last one of the series is an 1812, exactly the same features as I was explaining first on the 1803, only that it does 120 watts. Then of the 1800 series, like the 2000 series, as you notice, the 1700 series does not have a booster amplifier. The 2000 series has got a P224 booster. The 1800 series also does a booster, which is a P1812. As you see on the booster side, there isn't really much. There's just a master volume control and your input to connect and then your speaker output. So this will boost, if you need 120 watts of extra power, you can boost it with the P1812. But let me bring this to everyone's attention. Any of these boosters can be used with any of your amplifiers. So for example, I've got a 1700, I want to boost it by 1812, I can use this one. I have a 1700 series, I want to boost it by 240 watts, I can use the P224. I have I have the 1800 series, okay? I want to boost it by 240 watts, I can also use the P224. So the booster amplifiers, though they are labeled P224 and P1812, they apply across the A series packaged amplifier. You can boost with any without any issues. Right, as I always do in my presentations, I will create, I will send all this information, all these PowerPoints to you through Akim, or if I'll check you have your email addresses. I'll see if I can retransfer to maybe 1 or 2, then you can share with your colleagues. It will be okay to use these PowerPoints if you want to revise what we're saying. Okay, what I've done is I've done a comparison table of packaged audio amplifiers, just to give you what each series does. Let's take a look. An A2000 series has got 3 mic inputs. Mic 1 has got a 5-pin DIN, and phantom power is only to mic 1. So the A2000 series, you cannot connect 2 condenser microphones. The 1700 series, 6 microphone inputs with selectable on and off phantom power. So A2000, 3 microphones, only 1 microphone on microphone number 1 can be phantom powered, can be a condenser microphone. 1800 series, 1700 series, 6 mic inputs, all 6 can be phantom powered. 1800, 3 microphone inputs. And any of these 3 can also be phantom powered, meaning to say, where I'm saying phantom powered, meaning to say you can use condenser microphone or you can use standard dynamic microphone. Let's take a look. On A2000 series, you've got what we call mic 1 mute level preset. I'll explain. On 1700, we have only XLR combi phono inputs. Then on 1800, we've got mic 1 mute level preset. What it means is you can desire to have microphone 1 when it mutes, you can desire the muted signal to come either at infinity, which is completely muted, or you want it to duck to a certain level, so you can actually adjust the little preset behind the amplifier. You can turn it softer anti-clockwise, harder on the clockwise side. Okay. 2000 series amplifiers, 2 auxiliary inputs. 1700, 2 auxiliary inputs. 1800, 2 auxiliary inputs, plus your music on hold or auxiliary. Okay, extra ones. 100-volt line output only, so you can connect only 100-volt speakers. This one, you have an option of connecting 100-volt or 4 to 16 ohm or 70 volts. I think you're seeing the difference, both technical and sales. 100-volt plus option of 4 to 16 ohm and 70 volt. Lastly, no zone selector on the 1800 series. Here, 2 zone selectable direct volt. So what it means is 2 zone selectable and direct volt output. It means if you use the direct volt output, all right, and you connect your speakers there, if you switch on and off zone 1, zone 2, it will have no effect. If you use your speakers connected to zone 1 and 2, and you switch on the button for zone 1, then the speakers will work. Switch it off, then the speakers will stop working. Then you have common across the 3 models, bass and treble controls across the 3 models, and common again across the 3 models, master volume control across the 3 models, and the packages across the 3 models are slightly different. The A2000 series has got a 30 watt package, 60 watt package, 120 watt package, 240 watt package. The A1700 only has 3 packages, the 1706, which is a 60 watt, then followed by 120, followed by 240. And lastly, the 1800 series also has 3 packages, followed by 30, followed by 60, followed by 120. So as you see, it depends also on what you want to achieve, how much power you need. It depends on how many inputs you want. You also depend on what type of inputs you want. It also depends, do you want 2 zones selectable? And obviously, which amplifier models are you looking for? So if you are looking for anything that does more than 120 watts, the 1800 series is not your choice. If you are looking for something that is going to push at 240 watts, you have to consider the 1700 or the 2000 series. Okay, so these are some of the comparisons tables that I wanted to bring to your comparison sheet. Like I said, I will share with you all this information, and if there's any questions thereafter, you can always ask me. Right, let's wrap up on some of the comparisons. The last of the A2000, like I told you, with the booster amplifier P2240. This booster amplifier can be used across the entire range. Same as the booster amplifier 1812, which is the 1800 booster, which is a 120 watt booster, can be used across the entire range. All right. On the A2000 series, you've got a 24 volt DC option. On the 1700, you cannot connect it to batteries. On the 1800, it is connectable. All right. Akim, can you accept a colleague to come through, please? Thank you. Right. Let's go to the last sheet. Amongst these, you need to be careful if you are selling them to your client for sales. You need to be careful when you're selling them to client. And technical, this is where we chip in. If you sell the A2000, 1700, 1800 series, it comes without a rack mounting bracket. So you can use the original from Japan, the MB25B rack mounting bracket. But if you source the equipment from us here in South Africa, we'll supply you a local made 2-bracket-2 USA. These codes, you don't have to worry. just tell whoever you're dealing with, Akim in your case, that I'm wanting to install this one in the rack. You will be able to adjust your cord and ensure that when he quotes you, he gives you the rack mounting bracket. Right. The last of the packaged amplifiers, as you see, they look completely different. These are the 5000 digital Nixa amplifier with built-in DSP. Right. So I've got two of them. Number one is a A5006. The other one is a 5012. All right. So they both look the same. They are standard. Sorry, when you look at your rack, we call it standard width. These are half width. Okay. So you need to be careful. If you are going to be installing them in a rack, you need to be careful. You need to tell us, and then we should be able to assist you with what bracket you use. Right, let's have a look. Number one, they are very small. They are very lightweight because they are using Class D technology. So they are Class D amplifiers. Unlike the other one that I was showing you, these are just normal analog amplifiers. This is a Class D amplifier, very high efficient, low heat dissipation, half standard rack width. Gives you 2 mic inputs with mute function and 2 more dedicated line inputs. Let's have a look. You've got microphone number 1, microphone number 2. So your microphone, it doesn't have to have a cable, doesn't have to have an XLR or a 1/4 inch. You cut it off. You can just terminate it over here. All right. It is what is called a Vox function. A Vox function works on threshold of volume. So what it means is, suppose you are playing music and your microphone is connected. As long as you don't speak above a certain set threshold, that microphone will stay muted, and then your volume of the music is what you'll be what you will hear. However, if you speak above the set threshold, automatically your music will duck, and whatever is coming from mic 1 or mic 2 will be broadcast to your speakers. All right. This can be connected to a LAN port, to a network, and you can configure it if you want remotely. Okay, cool stuff. You can configure it via your laptop. It needs a laptop, unlike the other ones, 1800 series, 1700 series, 2000 series. That's manual operation. You just need to turn the bass up, turn the bass down, volume up, volume down, treble up, treble down, adjust your mic input. There's nothing much you can do. This is just basic analog amplifier. This one, however, as you see, it has mic line volume, line volume, line volume, line volume. So you only have these volume for year, volume for year, volume for year, volume for year. Then you have your power button. Otherwise, this is completely digital inside. You need to do, it comes with a 5-band parametric equalizer for each input and output, which is our DSP. You can fine tune it, cut out frequencies that are giving you issues, and then clean up the sound chain signal path so that you have clean signal coming in, amplified signal clean that is coming out. Right. You also have a mute by mic 1 priority, which is manual mute. What it means is, I will show you. What it means is, if you have a special microphone like the TOA DM1200D, it's got a special mute button. So if you press on the microphone, a button will then also, a cable will also close inside. So if you are going to wire this microphone, you would wire your hot, your cold, your earth, which is your 3 wires of the microphone. Inside a DM1200D, we have 2 more extra wires, which you wire on control. What it means is, as soon as you press on the microphone button, then it closes this contact. Whatever is coming as your audio will then go to your speakers. All right. It's got compressors built for input 1 and 2, which is a nice feature. You guys, I think you are aware about compressors with digital amplifiers. Every digital amplifier, I'm not sure about other products, but every digital amplifier is recommended to run with your DSPs on, as well as your compressor. So your compressor will simply make sure that according to the threshold that you have set, your sound does not tweak above it. Otherwise, your amplifiers will overdrive, they will clip, they will distort, and then they get damaged. All right. There's 2 auxiliary inputs, 1 record output, 60 volts, 60 watts for the 1506, 120 watt for the 5012. You need a PC laptop for setting up or live use. So you can actually connect your laptop as you are doing the function. You can be the electronic DJ. You can smoothen out the frequencies. You can do a manual adjustment. It will be live on the system, and then you can carry on with the business of the day. This is very good for top of the range retail boutiques. So where these clients come in, they are served, they have coffee as they are shopping. So this is really good. It really produces awesome sound. And you can see the frequency range is very deep, from 50 hertz, right in the lower bass frequencies, to your top of the audio chain, audio frequency chain. Okay, so it covers a whole lot of frequency spectrum, as you would have compared it to the A2000, A1700, and A1800. This is the sister, which is an 5012 digital Nixa amplifier. Exactly the same inputs as I was showing you on the other one. Let's compare the two. Number one, this is rack mounting brackets available. If you are going to mount one, you will let us know. We will tell you which bracket to buy. If you are going to mount two of them, which is side by side, you will also let us know. We'll tell you which rack mounting bracket to use. Okay, like I've said, most people do forget it. That's why I put in the PowerPoint. Remember to quote this when amplifiers has to be rack mounted, because the amplifier, when you buy them from TOA, they do not come with rack mounting brackets. That concludes this section where we were talking about packaged amplifiers, the whole range that we have from TOA. Just to let you know, we were dealing with the A2000 series. That A2000 series has now been replaced with the same number doors. You have the A230. Now it's called A2030DD. The A2060 is now called 60DD. The A2120 is now called DD at the end, and then the A2240 is now called A2240DD. So the DD there that you will see represents a digital amplifier module inside. So it's no longer, it will no longer be the same, but everything now is now digital. But if you choose to buy from TOA, the order that I showed you in the PowerPoint, they're all fine. But I would recommend that if you're buying from TOA, buy the digital ones. The sound is absolutely fantastic. Right. That comes to the end of the PowerPoint presentation, where I was showing you our packaged range of amplifiers. Like I've said, I'll share these PowerPoints with you. It will be good for you to have them. Right. Okay, I need you guys to talk to me so that I know any questions. Still good?